Good afternoon. If you could please put your mobile phones, cell phones, on vibrate or mute. Appreciate it. And we speak both languages. Today we have the head coach of the U.S. men's national team, Dave Sarachan. We'll begin with opening comments from Dave, and then we will take your questions. If you do have a question, please raise your hand, as there is a wireless microphone so everyone can hear. With that, we'll begin with comments from Dave.
Great, thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. I guess before I begin, I'd like to first offer, on behalf of U.S. Soccer, our condolences to Brentford Football Club. They've been great hosts. We understand there was an unfortunate passing of Robert Rowan, their technical director, and we just want to pass along our condolences to the club, his family, and friends. They've been great hosts. We've had a great few days here so far. You know, they tell me it rains in England. I'm not sure that's true. We've had terrific weather. When we started out this fall series and got our fixture list of the matches that we were going to be a part of, each one represents a real challenge. But I would tell you that when it came out that we were playing England at Wembley, I think that resonated pretty loudly within our group. For someone like myself, who's a little bit older than the young ones that I'm managing right now, I have a lot of memories of very famous matches at Wembley, some obviously in the older Wembley, but to me, it's still Wembley. It represents football at a high level, and to be able to play England at Wembley for our group is a great test of measuring up. I think they're in great form. Gareth's done a great job with them, and ultimately that's why you play these games, to get tested. So we're really excited about the opportunity to get on the field tomorrow and compete and see what it looks like.
Steve.
Dave, with Christian back in the fold, and a new era, so to speak, beginning here with U.S. Soccer, what are your expectations of him? Do you expect, even though he's only 20, to take a greater role in leadership on and off the field? What do you expect from him going forward now?
Well, certainly we're thrilled to have Christian a part of it. We know he's unfortunately missed out on some opportunities leading up to this match, but having him here, first and foremost, he's very excited to be here. He's got a lot of friends and peers within this group, and I think it raises our level in many ways. On the field, for sure. I think off the field as well. I think we don't want to put too many expectations on Christian. You know, to think that by having him now, all of a sudden, we become a magical group is unfair. But I will say that anytime you add quality, especially in the way that Christian can bring quality on the field, it makes us better. So I'm hopeful that he'll have an opportunity to have an impact in a game like tomorrow.
Doug.
Dave, just curious how you handle the goalkeeper situation tomorrow and next week against Italy with Zach Steffen out, and how you see the competition shaking out beyond that, given that Brad's a bit older and the next group seems quite a bit younger than him without really anyone in the middle.
Yeah, I think, you know, I think it's a fairly good problem to have. I think we've traditionally and currently are pretty strong in goal. I think Brad obviously is the older veteran, and having him a part of these camps over the last few camps adds great experience to and lends itself to a lot of the younger guys. The margins between Brad and Zach and a few others are pretty thin, but I think losing Zach for these games now gives others opportunities. Ethan has currently been playing quite well for Club Brugge, and he's shown well. So we'll see. We'll take each game as it comes, but it's good to have some good competition there. I have, yeah. I'll let you know.
Yeah. Tomorrow. Jeff.
Dave, what's Josh Sargent's status right now? We saw him training on the side yesterday, and also, have you made a decision about captain tomorrow? And if you have, can you share who that might be?
Josh is doing good. He did come in with a little bit of a knock, and so we've sort of progressed him along. You know, I'm not trying to be coy, but it is day to day with Josh. But we're hopeful that he'll move in a direction where he'll be available, if not tomorrow, on Tuesday. I have not decided on a captain for tomorrow yet.
Dave, you mentioned about how special this game against England is, obviously the game against Italy next week as well. What does this do for the respect levels of US soccer after what happened in the World Cup qualification to have positive results in these next 2 games? Is it more important, the performance, the result? I mean, what is it about you can do this week?
Yeah, I think, as I said, we've had probably our most competitive fixture list and matches throughout 2018 than U.S. Soccer's had in almost ever, but certainly in a long, long time. This group has faced Portugal and France and Brazil and Peru and Colombia and now England, and so we're not out for moral victories. We're out to represent ourselves in a way where we can be competitive and win. So to your question, anytime you step on the field against a team like England and some of the others I mentioned, it's a great measuring tool for our group, and it always goes a long way when you win. I think our fan base and people that follow us are excited about this group, and so if we compete and do well and get a result that furthers that along. So it always goes a long way. Yeah.
Hello, Dave. It's John Cross from the Daily Mirror here. I just wonder whether I could ask you, there's been quite a big debate here about Wayne Rooney's participation within the game. Obviously, it's a tribute to his fine England career. I just wondered what you made of the decision, which has obviously caused some controversy here, to play him in part of the game. Does it devalue the game in any way? Do you respect the kind of notion? And you know, what do you make of Rooney's career generally?
If he scores against us tomorrow, I won't be happy about the decision. Let me put it to you that way. No, I have thought about that because I know it's caused some controversy. My feeling on that is maybe a little different, because I think a player like Wayne Rooney that has such a terrific international career, obviously, you know, in the league, but in terms of his national team, to have an opportunity to reward him for that as a federation, I kind of applaud that. I don't think it devalues the game. I would say I'd think differently if Wayne had retired from football 3 years ago, and then they said, hey, why don't you just jump in? But he's coming off a very impactful season in the States. He's fit. I'm sure he will not be out of place. It's not going to be the type of thing where now the game changes. In fact, he's in good form. So I think given all of that, I think when you have the opportunity to reward a player like that, I don't think that's a bad thing at all.
How has Rooney impressed you in MLS? And could you compare the impact he's made to some of the other British or English players that have gone over there, such as Gerrard, Lampard, Cole, and obviously Beckham won with LA Galaxy, but compare the impact Wayne's made?
I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed with the impact. He was not there as a stunt, and he was not there on vacation. He was there to play, and so from that standpoint, I've been very impressed. And I think most of the players that you just mentioned had the right intentions. Some didn't settle as well as others. I had the privilege to be with the LA Galaxy for a number of years and had the opportunity to manage David and Ashley Cole. And they came over as competitors and winners. And I think with Rooney, it was very evident that he stepped on the field and wanted to help his team be better and win. So, you know, I'm a product of the old league, the NASL, when players came over strictly as a vacation. And I don't think that's the case for a lot of the guys now, and certainly for Wayne Rooney.
Dave.
Where? Oh, sorry. Hey, Paul.
Hey, Dave. Tyler Adams has been, we talked yesterday about how he could potentially emerge as a leader for this team, but he's already been somewhat of a leader for the Red Bulls and taking them to the conference final, and it hasn't been officially announced, but is expected to move to Leipzig in January. Where do you see his ceiling, and what is it about Tyler that's allowed him to take on such big roles so early in his career?
Yeah, Tyler, first of all, he's a winner. He is a competitor. If you look at the boxes that get checked in terms of players that could succeed, the two I just mentioned, a winner, competitor, wants to improve, accepts and embraces a leadership kind of role for a young guy. He checks all those boxes, and I think his short body of work in his limited time that we've known him, it has been pretty impressive, but there's a huge ceiling for him to improve and get better, and he's a guy that I think if he stays healthy and gets pushed along in the next good environment, that we're going to see him in this stage and as part of the national team for quite a long time.
Hi, Dave. Ian Abraham, TalkSport. Sorry, another one on Wayne Rooney. Do you think his involvement tomorrow will make this a more high-profile game in the United States for people to watch? Do you think that?
I would think so. I think having Wayne in our league this year, the American fan is more sophisticated than you think. They follow it, and I think having Wayne there certainly was a big bonus for many people that followed football. I think him being involved in this game will be followed maybe a little bit closer, given now that they have seen him up close and personal in our country and the impact that he's made. Yep.
Dave, Neil Barnett, SiriusXM. Historically, the States have always been at their best when they've been spirited, athletic, and with a special player, whether Landon Donovan, Clint Dempsey, making an influence on major tournaments. Over the last year, perhaps not always technically brilliant, over the last year, have you tried to change that identity? How do you see the identity of this young team now?
That's a good question from that standpoint of identity. We talk about that with our team. For the 12 months I've had this group, one of the things, the messaging that I've and my staff and as a group we've continued to harp on is what are we about? Let's not lose the qualities that the U.S. national team, in my opinion, usually always has. To your point, being competitive, having a great work ethic, being collective, showing energy. With this young group that we've had, I think we've formulated an identity that's on par with those qualities. I think when people watch this team, they do see a young team that's got energy and play without fear and try to be aggressive. On the technical side, as a manager, I always think there's improvement, but I think this particular generation has the ability on the technical side to raise that level as well. So that's the goal from each friendly opportunities that we've had, that we continue to progress that as we move forward.
To your right, Dave.
Thank you, Mike. John Babiak with SB Nation out of Denver, Colorado. You've called up Kalen Acosta now 3 times. You've seen him before when you were assisting Bruce. What do you see in this young man now? And if you could forecast the future, look into the crystal ball, where's this player going?
Yeah, Kellen, again, kind of similar to Tyler in terms of his physical qualities, his ability to cover ground, his ability to get forward out of a midfield position. I think, depending on, I think the challenge will be what is his best position, and depending on the team and the system that he plays on. But in terms of the individual qualities, Kellen has shown that at this level he's not out of place. He's physically capable. I think the areas of improvement is the ability to be a little bit better in tight spots with the ball. But that's also getting better for him. So and he's like Tyler, wants to improve and get better, and so he's got a lot of the same qualities in that regard. Yep.
Coach, good afternoon. How do you? This team is an under 24 team that's going to play in Wembley. What advice do you give them? I spoke to some of the guys yesterday, and they're excited. They want to win. I mean, DeAndre told me we're here to win. We're not here to, say goodbye to Wayne Rooney or try to tie this game. We want to win. Some of the younger guys, what can you tell them, like Josh, like Tim, when they step out into such an historic pitch like Wembley?
Yeah, I don't know if I have to say a whole lot. I think these kids are pretty sophisticated. They may not have the firsthand knowledge of watching matches in the past here, but they know what Wembley's about in the history. They know where England is at the moment, given their high profile. The message is going to be the same. Enjoy the moment. Play without fear, compete, and really just have 90 minutes of football that's something you'll remember. And I think these young guys have those qualities. They're not afraid, and I think they are excited for the right reasons. So I don't think I have to say a whole lot to motivate them.
To your left, Dave.
Simon Peach from the Press Association. I was looking at a statistic earlier that you've played 50, or given 50 players a cap this calendar year alone. You're obviously a side in transition after the disappointment of last year. Where are you now coming towards the end of the year in that transition? And also England are in a transition of their own. What have you made of that from the outside?
As far as our group over the 12 months, I've often said that I think these 12 months have given us an opportunity to do just that, to begin the process of identifying and offering players an opportunity to see where they are currently and where we think they can be in the future. So to the statistics you've named, we've done that with a lot of players, and I think we've moved it along so that when the calendar year flips and we get into 2019 and we begin the next cycle, there's a great starting point there, and it's not an end point. I think we've sort of identified a good core of guys and had a good look. With England, same thing. I think when I look at their roster, obviously there's so much quality and so much depth, and I think for that alone, it's they seem to be in a pretty good spot in terms of choices. So I think they've done a great job of transitioning and moving guys along.
We'll do two more.
My question is similar to Simon's. I wanted to ask, Gareth Southgate's played a lot of players who are not playing so much with their clubs, but using the international stage to give them confidence to take back to their clubs. Is that something that you're doing with Matt Miazga and others to try and give the US guys a sort of edge when they go back?
Yeah, I think, you know, there's one notion that players shouldn't be called in unless they're playing. But in my opinion, for a guy like Matt Miazga or Tim Weah, let's say, at PSG, it's going to be hard to replace Neymar for Tim, right? So why punish him because he's not breaking in? I think if you take the long view, which I've tried to do, and maybe Gareth too, is where do we think these guys will be in a year and two? And so and Matt Miazga, and so to be able to bring them in because we still feel we have confidence within our group and give them those opportunities, totally invaluable, and that's been the approach.
Hi, I'm Jack Pittbrook from The Independent. You've got quite a few guys in the squad now who have done similar to what Pulisic has done and moved to Germany or Europe as teenagers. How important is that to the level of the players that you've got, and how important is Christian's example to other American youngsters?
Well, it is important that the players that you mentioned that have moved to Europe, if they're playing, which many are, it accelerates them, gives them a broader view, gives them more experience, makes them better, and then when they come back in with our group, they become a little more of leaders within the group as well. And so I think that's an individual question. Some players go over and don't play, but I think for the most part, when any player can move ahead and get those opportunities, it benefits him and the group.
Thank you, Dave. Thanks, everyone. Mixed zone will be open shortly.
Thank you.